So it seems Britney is finally able to get a lot of stuff off of her chest. Most notably, most recently, Diane Sawyer. This interview that happened back in 2003 when Britney would have been only 22 years old. Which clearly, even for those who've seen the interview at the time, was very traumatic for her. But she's finally been able to speak up about what's been going on, and that's what I'm going to be talking about in this video, as well as a whole update on my thoughts and feelings about what's going on with the Free Britney movement, because a lot of stuff is going on, and yeah, the tides have clearly changed, but for some reason it just doesn't feel that they've changed as strongly as we would have liked. So let's get into it. I've got a bunch of different things, and I also want to be discussing in this video why exactly her tweets keep disappearing, because surely if she's so free now and she's got all this freedom, surely then we should be able to be seeing her tweets should be able to stay up. So I'm going to be talking about a lot of that. To kick this off, we'll get straight into the Diane Sawyer thing. Obviously, for those of you who don't know what is going on with Britney, please check out my #FreeBritney playlist. I've got all the videos about her in there and what was going on, what's been going on, and this video will be in that playlist as well. Now, Britney's been speaking up a lot on her Instagram and in general, you know, just kind of hinting sometimes and also sometimes extremely directly, talking about things that she's went through, traumas, especially in terms of like exposing who was on her side and who wasn't. She's gone out of her way to speak positively. So, for example, in this same post, I believe she thanked Jennifer Lopez, I think, for sending her some heels and things like that. But then also, as we know, with Jamie Lynn, and I've discussed much of that, being very clear about her feelings towards a lot of her family members, including her mum. So it's interesting that she finally talked about this Diane Sawyer interview, because when I first saw this, guys, I was so mad. Like, I was absolutely furious when I saw this interview, because first things first, she's a young woman and she's been through a breakup, and I just feel like woman to woman, and I'm not trying to make this into feminist movement, this is just me saying that when you're part of the same gender as somebody, I believe you can understand sometimes the effects of certain things more than maybe the other gender can appreciate, kind of thing, right? It was so disappointing to see an older woman who older people are considered to be, you know, wiser, which I believe for the most part, that's the rule of thumb. I believe that's how God made for it to be, that, you know, older people are supposed to be wise, are supposed to perform a type of leadership or mentorship to people who are younger. So somebody like Diane Sawyer, being somebody older in the industry, for me, it's a shame that that was her approach towards Britney Spears, when Britney was such a young person in this crazy world, and who had grown up for the majority of her childhood really in this crazy like entertainment world. So that was just a red flag from the beginning for me with this whole Diane Sawyer interview, was the fact that, like, look, you're clearly not on her team. She's clearly distressed and upset. I mean, for example, why was she not saying, you know what, Britney looks distressed, let's just cut this for today, let's redo it? Or even if she just asked on the interview, because it's happened before, you know, where people have an interview, it might be hard for them to do, and the interviewer might say, you know, are you sure you're happy to continue? Did you want to take a break? And they might be like, no, I want to continue. This is just hard for me to talk about. And it gives, you know, it shows that, you know, the interviewer and the people who are producing the interview actually genuinely care about the person who's being interviewed. Whereas, as Britney stated, and I knew when she posted the tweets, they were going to disappear, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But what I managed to find online, some quotes and also pictures of what she had tweeted when she initially did tweet. When she posted on Instagram initially, I did actually read it, because I was like, I better read this now, because if I don't read this now, this might be gone. But the problem is I didn't see it on my phone to like screenshot it or anything. But anywho, yeah, so Britney even asked, you know, now what was with her wrong approach? You know, why is she trying to, she said, yeah, what was with her wrong approach? And geez, and making me cry. That's what Britney was saying. Like, why would you come with that approach? Because one of the things that it seems like Britney felt Diane was saying was that, like, Diane was blaming her for the breakup with Justin. If you guys don't know, this whole breakup with Justin, and just Justin Timberlake in general, is a very, unfortunately, a problematic character as well, I've come to find out. Because not only has he been exposed in some areas, allegedly, to have capitalized off of the fact that Britney was being seen as like this going off the rails person, and then kind of catapulting off of that, using that to his career. Even in the song Cry Me a River, a lot of people are saying that like that song was about Britney, because there was I remember people at the time saying that the girl who was acting in it looked like Britney. So even the vibe of that song, if you think about it, you can see he's also trying to push the blame over to her. And so Diane seems to come in with that same narrative as well, trying to push it onto Britney, like, oh, this is your fault. And obviously Britney's there saying, according to her Instagram, that, she wasn't even leaving her apartment. She was totally not even talking to anybody, let alone Diane starting to ask her, like, why were you doing all this shopping? So yeah, with Justin, there's that. But then also separately, I heard another interesting stories about Justin Timberlake and how he also negatively affected Janet Jackson's career, again, because when things unfortunately go wrong in the industry, there is an imbalance as to how people have historically seen young men and young women in terms of getting away with things, that happen, unfortunately. And generally the young women are looked at as more dumb and in need of help and in need of intervention, and the young men, a lot of the time, they go, oh, he's learned his lesson, or whatever, whatever it is. There, to me, seems like some level of an imbalance. And Diane Sawyer, I feel like, jumped on that same bandwagon and was like trying to get onto Britney, basically saying all this stuff. And Britney was clearly distressed, guys. And this goes back to what I've said so many times on my channel about protecting children, protecting young people. Where was Jamie and Lynn in all this? Why were Jamie and Lynn not stepping in and saying, you know what, this is our daughter, we need to look out for her, we need to look after her, because it's just totally inappropriate, this interview, she's supposed to have assistants or managers. Where were all these people, and what were they doing when this young woman, again, who is the talent, who's the reason so many of those people have a job, who's the reason why Diane Sawyer is probably going to make a good amount of money off of that same interview, how come nobody's stepping in and saying anything? And I think so many of the people in the industry are affected negatively because nobody's stepping in and saying, hello, this isn't okay. How many more times are we going to find situations where no one is stepping in, right? How many times? And it's so frustrating to me, because it makes so much sense why it took so long for Britney to come out and say what she had to say, because she, at a certain point, as many of them I think have felt and still feel now, and probably don't say, is they feel like they can't come up against this beast that is the Hollywood industry. They can't come up against it because so many people are complicit with what's going on. And so even if they want to speak their truth and say what's gone on, it's like, well, who's going to believe you? Because people might believe you, but they'll know exactly, but they knew what was going on. And for example, Britney even shouted out the likes of Christina Aguilera for stuff like that. And I mean, they've had historical problems, but it's clear that people, or there was somebody else as well that she called out, I can't remember who it was. Because it's like, people were there, like, these things aren't just happening and no one is there, like, there's a whole team. Somebody had to watch, again, somebody probably had to edit the interview, then they had to probably add all the graphics, then it also had to probably be double checked by the associate editor, the head editor, executive editor, or whoever it was, right? Then it had to probably be checked by somebody else, maybe, even if it didn't. That's already enough people that have had to look through there. There's the people filming, there's the people doing the sound, there's probably the assistant running and getting water, and there's probably the makeup team, the hair team. This is how I think about it, because all these people are here on set, and yet nothing is really happening. In fact, people, and I mean, I know a lot of people thought, some people did kind of vocalize-ish that they thought that this was problematic, but at the same time, like I'm saying, she still went forward. Nothing stopped anything, and Britney still only got out of her conservatorship now anyway. And that was in 2003. That was in 2003. Like, I was trying to count the years. I was like, that wasn't like 18 years, was it? That's like 18 years ago. Do you see what I mean? And so it's crazy to think that now, after all that time, Britney's finally getting some level of justice and getting to speak up about that stuff. And moving swiftly on to her Instagram posts and stuff. I mentioned in another video, which I probably will post after this video because I felt this video was a bit more relevant. But I mentioned in another video that I'm not sure I believe this conservatorship thing is as free as they're making it out to be. And honestly, guys, I don't feel that she's as free as they're making it out to be, because why is she deleting her tweets? This is a very simple question. Why is Britney feeling the need to post her tweets and then delete them? There must be some reason why she's doing that, because ultimately, if she's free and this is her thing now and she's out, there's no excuse. In the same way that I mean, obviously she might feel away. Maybe she might be feeling, if she's feeling like maybe she went too far, then by all means, Britney, you go do your thing, girl. If you felt that you went too far, or maybe she just wanted to throw something out there for the people who'd see it and then take it away. Maybe she likes being able to do that. Maybe she's enjoying having the control over her account. If any of those things are the case, if this is her decision, then there's absolutely no problem. I'm not saying that the messages, keep wanting to call them tweets, the posts need to stay up, but it's just concerning to me that why are they disappearing? Because as I discussed in my videos about Amanda, which you can check out my Amanda Bynes playlist, one of the things that to do with Amanda Bynes, her Twitter in particular, was that a lot of people believe that her, even though she's got this verified Twitter account, a lot of people believe it was being controlled by her, by her conservatorship, and Britney's Instagram was also being controlled by the conservatorship. So could it be that her Instagram forms part of the digital estate of Britney Spears? For all we know, who knows, guys? Who knows? Because if it is, and if she still hasn't got all the rights to her full estate yet, then it's possible that these things could be happening. And it seemed to me at sometimes, like with Britney's social media, it seemed like there was a bit of a battle going on before the conservatorship ended. Like it seemed like sometimes she was managing to get out things she wanted to, and then those things were coming down, and then other times just weird content that we didn't seem like it was her was also popping up. So it's leaving even us, the viewers, guessing, because we're like, is she okay or isn't she? Oh, that post looks fine. Okay, no, that post looks concerning. We're kind of here also not really sure, and we're doing the whole Britney, wear a yellow top in your next post if you need help. That for those of you who are part of the Free Britney journey from an earlier point. So I just wanted to ask that question and hear from you guys. What do you think is the reason why she is deleting her posts? What is the purpose in that? Could it be because of Team Con? Do you think it's because of her? And also with the Diane Sawyer thing, how do you feel about that now? How did you feel about it before all of this? If any of you remember the interview itself, what were you thinking at the time when this was all happening? Because I think the unfortunate thing is that so much of the media back then, and this is why it's so important in my opinion to talk about, so much of the media back then and the way that the media controls what we think means that we can make certain assumptions based on the way a story is literally being played out. Like the same trick that they use in entertainment business, if you're watching a movie, to convince you of a narrative or to convince you to like a person or dislike a person based on what they show you, and it could actually be very different if they showed you it in a different way. I believe the media does the same thing, unfortunately, and I've done many videos about the media, so check those out, and breaking down just how dangerous they actually are. So I wonder, like, you know, there's so many stories then, and my thing is, a lot of those things, unfortunately, we couldn't change what happened then. Of course, we're doing all we can now, but let's also be thinking about how we can deal with people differently now as well, like the different things that we're seeing nowadays, because I feel like there's a lot of opportunities in there for now for us to learn and say, okay, the last time we assumed that just because somebody was young or whatever, they were going off the rails, maybe we should look at it with a different lens. And I feel like this for Amanda Bynes, especially because she kind of had more of a chaotic media relationship, because the media caught her doing a lot of problematic things, to be honest. So it kind of made it easy for people to try and make a lot of assumptions in the media and people to twist things in a certain way. So anyway, please subscribe if you have enjoyed this video, and check out the other #FreeBritney videos. I'm going to do another video, as I said, about something I mentioned, I don't even remember now, a video that I already did. Oh yeah, just talking a little bit about the conservatorship and why I'm not sure she's really out, and this is kind of making me think more of that as well. Don't forget to let me know all your thoughts in the comment section, as I already asked. Also, like the video if you have liked it. Other than that, God bless you all, and I'll see you in my next one. Goodbye.